Hello boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. Hope you all are doing fantastic and welcome to the United Stand and welcome to my week 1 predictions for the opening day in EFL League 2, League 1 and Championship predictions. Okay then, so we're going to start with our first prediction, which is on Friday, and it is the opening day of the Championship as AFC Bournemouth take on West Brom Albion. Now this game could go two ways. Bournemouth are at home, so I expect them to win it. It's going to be a tight one there. I'm going to go, my prediction for this game is Bournemouth 2, West Brom 1. I think it'll be a very close game. I'm going to go with 2-1 to AFC Bournemouth. Now we move on to the start of the league campaigns. We start in the Championship predictions. First game, it is Blackburn Rovers against Swansea City. Now these two teams are very interesting, as I say. Swansea, they missed out on playoffs last season, while Blackburn, they had a bit of a mixed season. So I'm going to go with a Swansea win for this one. Blackburn 1, Swansea 3. I think Swansea will walk away with that game 3-1. Next game, it is Bristol City against newly promoted Blackpool. Now, Bristol City, Ashton Gate, they had a pretty decent season at Ashton Gate last season. So it'll be interesting to see how they do on opening day against Blackpool. I think it'll be a very close game. I'm going to go with Bristol City 1, Blackpool 1. I'm going to sit on the fence for this game. The next game is Cardiff City versus Barnsley. Now, this game is at the Cardiff City Stadium. Cardiff always seem to do well, so I'm going to go with Cardiff 3, Barnsley 1. I think Barnsley will get a goal in this one. The next game is Derby County versus Huddersfield Town. Now Derby County had a pretty poor season towards the end of last season. Huddersfield, I'm going to go with the Huddersfield win here. Derby 1, Huddersfield 3. That's what I'm going with for that one. Next game is Luton Town versus newly promoted Peterborough United. Now Luton, they've made some decent signs at the window, so have Peterborough. I'm going to go with a tight one here. Luton to win this one. Luton 2, Peterborough 1 is my prediction. Next game, it is Preston North End against the finally promoted team, Hull City. Now this one should be a very interesting game. There's going to be goals in this one, but I'm going with a Hull City win. Preston 2, Hull City 3. That is my prediction for that one. Next game then is Queen's Park Rangers versus Millwall. Now QPR, they had a pretty decent season last season, so I'm going to have QPR win here. QPR 2, Millwall 1. Next game is Stoke City versus Reading. Now this game should be a very tight game as well. I'm going to go Stoke home advantage win for them. Stoke 3, Reading 1. Welcome in, Josh. Hope you're doing well. And the final game in the opening game week in the Championship, it is Sheffield United versus Birmingham City. Now, Sheffield United at home at Bramall Lane. You would expect Sheffield United to have a good season, but obviously Birmingham, they had a pretty poor season last season. So I'm going to sit on the fence for this one. Sheffield United 1, Birmingham City 1. It's going to be a draw on the first game day. Now we move to the opening game week in EFL League 1. The first game in League 1, it is newly promoted Bolton Wanderers against MK Dons. Now Bolton, they've just come up from EFL League 2, so they will look to make a statement against a very strong MK Dons team. I'm going to back Bolton to win this one. Bolton 3, MK Dons 2. I think it'll be a close encounter. Next up is the second of the promoted sides. It is Cambridge United against Oxford. Now, Oxford, they had a pretty decent season last season, EFL League 1. Cambridge just come up. It's going to be a tight game as well. Oxford to win. I'm going to go with a 2-1 Oxford win. Next game is Crewe Alexandra against the final promoted team, Cheltenham Town. Now, Cheltenham Town, they've just come up. Crewe, they've been in the league for a bit, few seasons. I'm going to back Crewe to win, so it'll be a tie game. I'm going to go with 1-0 to Crewe. It could be a close game. Next game is Doncaster Rovers against AFC Wimbledon. Now, Doncaster Rovers, they did pretty well last season. I expect them to have a good game in this one. I think they'll win this one. I'm going to go with a comfortable 3-0 win for Doncaster Rovers. Next up, it is Fleetwood Town versus Portsmouth. Now, Portsmouth, I think they're going to have a good season. They are away from home as well. Fleetwood are the home team under Joey Barton, but I'm going to back the away side Pompey for this one. I'm going to go with Fleetwood 1, Portsmouth 4. I'm going to go 4-1 Portsmouth. I think Portsmouth will win this one. Next up then, it is Gillingham against Lincoln City. Now, Gillingham, they had a pretty decent season last season. I think this will be a very interesting game. They're playing Lincoln City at home. Now, Lincoln, they're a bit back and forth, but I'm going to back Gillingham with home advantage. I'm going to go with a tight game as well. I'm going to go with a 1-0 Gillingham win. Next game, it is Ipswich Town against Morecambe. Now, Morecambe, they won the playoffs. So Morecambe, they're a bit of a 50-50 one, because obviously they are playing a very good side in Ipswich Town. I think Ipswich will win this one. They have home advantage. I'm going to go with a 2-0 Ipswich win for that game. I think Ipswich will win it. Next game then is Rotherham United against Plymouth Argyle. Now, Rotherham at home at the New York Stadium. Remember, Rotherham have just come down from the Championship, so Rotherham, they'll want to make a statement against Plymouth Argyle, and I think they'll win it. I'm going to go with this game. I'm going to go, I think Rotherham to win 3-1. I'm going to go 3-1 Rotherham in this game at Plymouth. Next game then, it is Shrewsbury Town against Burton Albion. Now, Shrewsbury, they had a pretty weird season last season, and Burton Albion, they just survived. So it's going to be a close game, but I'm going to go home advantage again, and I'm going to go with a 1-0 Shrewsbury win. Next game then is Sunderland against Wigan Athletic. Now, Sunderland were pretty good at the stadium. It's going to be a tough game, tough opening game against Wigan Athletic. Now, Wigan, they're a team that can flirt with playoffs and they could flirt with relegation. But you've got to back Sunderland. They have been on very good form at home. It's going to be a tight game. I'm going to go with a 2-1 Sunderland win. 2-1 Sunderland. Next game then, it is Wycombe Wanderers against Accrington Stanley. Now, Wycombe, they've just come down from the Championship, so they'll look to make a statement. And they've got Accrington Stanley in their first game in the division, so it'll be a very interesting game. I do expect goals from one, but I'm going to go with a Wycombe victory, and I'm going to go with a 2-0 Wycombe win. And the final game for EFL League One in the opening game week, it is Charlton Athletic versus Sheffield Wednesday. Now, the Sheffield Wednesday have just come down from the Championship, and it is a 5:30 kick-off that game. So it's going to be a very interesting game. Charlton, they're a bit of a team that could do really well. Wednesday obviously needs to get off to a good start. It's going to be tight in this one. I'm going to sit on the fence for this one. I'm going to go Charlton 1, Wednesday 1. I'm going to go 1-1 for that game. So that's the opening week for League One. And now we move to the opening week in EFL League 2. The first game in EFL League 2 on the opening game week is Carlisle United versus Colchester United. Now, Carlisle, they had a pretty weird end to their season last season. Colchester, in my predictor, if you've not seen it, I did a predictor this morning, and it said they thought that Colchester would have a good season. So I'm going to back Colchester on this one. I'm going to go with a 2-0 Colchester win. 2-0 Colchester. Next game is Exeter City versus Bradford City. Now, according to my predictor today, they said that Bradford were going to win the league, and they've got Exeter away in their first game of the season. It's going to be a tough game. I'm going to go with a draw. 1-1 Exeter Bradford. Next game then is Forest Green Rovers against newly promoted Sutton United. Now, Sutton, they've just come up from the National League, so they'll look to make a statement against Forest Green Rovers. Be a tough game for Sutton, obviously playing Forest Green, who have been in this League 2 for a few years now, so they'll probably have a bit more experience. But I can see Sutton getting a goal from somewhere in this game, but I don't think they're going to win it. I think Forest Green will win it, and I'm going to go with a narrow win. I'm going to go with 3-2 to Forest Green. I'm going to go 3-2 Forest Green. Sutton will score a goal or two in that game. Next up then, it's Harrogate Town against Rochdale. Now, Rochdale, they've just come down from League One, and they have a tough game to start the season against Harrogate. Now, Harrogate, they were very good last season in League 2, so they'll look to make a statement. Obviously, they'll want to try and push for playoffs and try and get up to League 1. So, yeah, I think it'll be a very close game. So I'm going to go with a Harrogate win. I'm going to say Harrogate 2-0. Next up then, another of the newly promoted teams, Hartlepool United, their first home game in League Two against Crawley Town. Now Hartlepool, they are another team that's just come up from the National League, so they'll want to make a statement. Two teams, by the way, came up from the National League, and those were Sutton and Hartlepool. So Hartlepool, they'll look to make a statement against Crawley. This will be a very good game. Crawley, obviously, we know what they were like last season in the FA Cup. But I'm going to say Hartlepool will get a win in their first game of the season. I don't think it will be an absolute blowout. I think they will win it. I'm going to go 2-0. Hartlepool will win 2-0. Next game then is Mansfield Town versus Bristol Rovers. Now Bristol Rovers, they've just come down from League One, so they had 5 years in the division. So I think this will be a win for Bristol Rovers. I just can't see Mansfield getting anything from that fixture against Bristol Rovers. They're a very good team, Bristol Rovers. I'm going to go with a 1-0 Rovers win. I think it'll be a close game though. Next game is Northampton Town against Port Vale. Now Northampton, they've just come down from League One. They'll try and stir the pot up, and I predicted they said they were going to have a good season. They're playing Port Vale. This should be a very interesting game. I'm going to sit on the fence this first game. I'm going to go 1-1. 1-1 Northampton Port Vale. Next up, it is Oldham Athletic versus Newport County. Now this is a game that could go anywhere. This could be a very close game. But I'm going to go Newport win it 1-0. Next game is Salford City against Leyton Orient. Salford City, obviously, they had a pretty poor season last season. Same with Leyton Orient. Both those teams have poor seasons. But I think Leyton Orient will probably nick this one at the close. I'm going to go with 2-1 Leyton Orient. Next up, it's Scunthorpe United against Swindon Town. Now Swindon Town, they've come down. Scunthorpe, obviously, are at home for this fixture. So you would back Scunthorpe on this one. And I'm going to back Scunthorpe because Swindon have been pretty poor last season. So I'm going to go 1-0 to Scunthorpe. And is this the final game? No, it's not quite. Two more games. Next game is Stevenage against Barrow. Now Stevenage, they've been very weird. Barrow, a lot of bookie on my predictor. A lot of people probably put Barrow as favourites, and they said this season that Barrow will get playoffs. I think they will get playoffs. Barrow are going to beat Stevenage 3-0. And the final game for the predictions is Tranmere Rovers against Walsall. Now Tranmere, they said in the predictions they were going to be 6th, just above Barrow. And Walsall, they said they were going to be at the bottom of the table. So we'll see what happens in that game. But I'm going to go Tranmere win, home advantage for Tranmere. Tranmere win 2-0. So that is it then, boys. That was the predictions for the start of the season. Hope you've enjoyed it, and see you guys later.